Okay, so let us start. We'll start with applying the water onto our paper. So let's apply water to the whole of our paper. Make sure that you apply the water multiple times. We need our paper to stay wet for a very long time because we also have those wet on wet clouds to add on the top. So make sure that the water that you apply is really even and also that your paper is able to stay wet. So while my paper soaks in that water, I am going to mix my paints. So I'm going to start with bright blue, and in order to make it opaque, I am going to mix it with nice amount of horizon blue. So here is my horizon blue and mixing it up. So you can see the kind of blue that it has made. It's opaque now. So make sure you mix it up nicely. So that is a nice opaque blue, but I need it to be turquoise slightly. So I'm going to be adding a little amount of phthalo green to it. Okay, so there, a little amount of phthalo green. And now you can see the gorgeous shade that it is. Okay, so that's horizon blue. So don't worry if you don't have horizon blue, you can even mix your gouache white or even your watercolors white paint. Okay, so that's blue and the gray together. That's created a nice gray mixture. Then we also need neutral tint. So let us mix up neutral tint. I am going to take neutral tint. You can also use Payne's Gray if you want. So either Payne's Gray. So here is my beautiful Payne's Gray. And to that, you can add a nice mixture of either lavender, shell pink, horizon blue, or any color for that matter to make it opaque. So here I'm taking lavender and I'll mix it with my gray, my Payne's Gray, to create that gorgeous gray color. Okay, so now that we have mixed the colors, we can start painting. But let me just reapply the water on my paper so that my paper is able to handle all that wet on wet technique that I want to paint. Okay, so we'll start with a nice amount of Aurelian in the middle for the bright sky, the yellow region. Then once you've got your yellow, we'll get to painting with the Naples yellow, red, and add in those orange shades. Okay, so there's the Naples yellow, and let's add it. So that's the lightest tone that's going into the middle. Okay, and now we'll take up the orange shade and we'll start by applying it at the bottom. So all the orange starts at the bottom and on top of the yellow as well in the form of streaky lines. Okay, and at the top middle it's the Naples yellow, and we'll add some nice lines, okay, with the mixture of Naples yellow and orange. So here I'm mixing my Naples yellow and adding some nice lines, okay, and something here. Okay, so this is a typical method of where we're using the opaque property, which is very important. Okay, so here at the base we'll add more oranges. Okay, Okay, now that we have got all the orange shades in, let's go ahead and start adding the blue mixture. So here is the beautiful blue mixture, and we'll start adding that to the top. Okay, so you can see how opaque that mixture is, and we'll be adding that in the areas in between. Okay, and let's go ahead and start adding in the areas in between. So all the darker colors, make sure that you start applying at the top, because the top can be as dark as it can be, but then when we come towards the bottom, we need it to be lighter. So here, as you can see, my strokes are getting lighter as I move towards the middle region. Okay, okay, so it's lighter. Let's mix a little bit more of the phthalo green to that mixture and start adding at the top. Okay, okay, there, we've added that nice gorgeous color at the top. Now I'm going to switch to my synthetic brush to add in the clouds. So here is my synthetic brush, and here is the gray tone that we have mixed. Okay, so here I'm taking up the paint, but I'm going to make sure that my brush is completely dry and does not have extra water. So here I'll dab off all that water from my brush, and then I'll start adding in the clouds. Okay, so nice clouds. Some nice cloudy shapes we have to create. Okay, so there. And we can go for smaller clouds as well, just some smaller lines. Okay, and let's go with the clouds in the middle of the sky. Okay, and some nice clouds like this. And clouds towards the left side. Okay, so you can see how we're applying the clouds. And then towards the base, we'll start adding those clouds in a lighter tone. Okay, same color, same gray we're using, but we are adding lighter strokes. Okay, there. Now let's go ahead and start adding some depth to it. So here I've mixed a darker tone, and I'll go over the top with this darker tone. Okay, here. Okay, going over the top with the darker tone. Okay. Okay, now that we've done that, let's go ahead and start adding some orange tones beneath. So here is my orange, but we need to mix it with Naples yellow. So here is my Naples yellow. And the orange, and make sure that our brush is completely lighter with no water. Okay, and adding those orange tones to the base. Okay, you can see how it makes the whole thing glow. Okay, adding the orange to the underside of all of those clouds. Okay. Now what we need is to get rid of those hairs. So I'm just using my damp brush to go around and just mix those into the sky such that I get rid of all those hairs that have formed. Okay. Make sure that you wash your brush or remove all that excess paint that you've taken. Okay, let's go ahead and start adding some darker clouds on the top. So here I'm taking paint spray again, and now I'll add on the top. And you can see how we're adding the darker clouds. Okay, and we'll add it right above the orange. And those are the smaller clouds. Okay. And towards this side as well. Then we also need some paint gray to add some nice dark strokes in the sky at the bottom region. So those are darker clouds in the sky. Okay, there. Now what we'll do is let's go ahead and start adding a foreground, but this time obviously you can add the foreground with the wet technique itself, or if your paper has completely dried at the bottom, then also it's going to work. It's absolutely fine. Okay, so there I'm just going to add it right below those clouds, and you can see it's not spreading too much because my paper has almost dried up. Okay, and it's just going to add some smoothness to it as well rather than making it too dark. Okay, there. Now we've added the base. Okay, now that we've painted our clouds and everything, let's wait for this whole thing to dry so that we can remove the tape. Okay, here everything is now completely dry, so let us remove the tape. So here is the final picture. I hope you like it.